Hello, welcome to my channel. So today we are going to be drawing a tiger and we're going to do him in monotone, so which means one colour, so black and white, which aren't really colours technically, but we're going to draw him black and white, and I'm still drawing him on my huion tablet, and I'm just going to do, I'll just go into the blues. Why's my pen not working again? Oh my goodness, what's going on here? Hang on. Oh gosh. Hang on. Got to bring my mouse back, I think. Come here, mouse. Where are you? There you are. No? Okay, so my settings are changed. Hang on just a sec. I've just got to fix my setting up. Go into krita. Go up here. Hang on. Just got to get into my krita and adjust my screens again, because my screens keep resetting. Just bear with me a second. Element B, got to go all the way to K. Ooh, went past K. K, element B, it's just before there. K. Krita, where are you? Oh, huion. That'll do it. I want the huion tablet, and then I go display, pen display. Pen display? Yep, bring it up. Yep, working area. It needs to be that screen. Don't know why it changed, but we're good. Fixed it now. So now my screen will be right. Okay, so I'm going to start. I'll go into the black, just there. And I'm going to start by drawing the head of this tiger. Just get the rough shapes, looking at angles. And once I've drawn the head, rough shape, then I will figure out the proportions of the rest of the body, because when I draw an animal, I work everything out from the dimensions of their head. So once I've drawn the basic shape of the head, then I will go on to the rest. I'm going to have to make his head smaller actually, but I can do that simply. So they've got rounded sort of ears. Okay, so I'm going to make him smaller. So how do I do that? Tools. Oh, on this one, I've got to figure it out. That one? Whoops. Nope. That one. Oh, no, that's not it. Control Z. I've forgotten how to do it. Hang on, there we go. So I do that, and then I can move. Then I can undo that one, and then I can move it. How do I move it? I've got to look at my pictures down here. Which one do I press to move? Goodness gracious, great balls of cotton fluff. Can't remember. That one? That's to move the whole screen. I might need to Google. It's been a while since I've moved a picture. That's all right. No, I can't. Having a look. Just looking at all the different little symbols. That one. So that's a move at one. Okay. That one. Aha. So we'll go back. Control Z. And then I think it's that one. That one. Nope. Ooh. No. What are you doing? What does that little thing do? Oh. Okay, we don't want to do that. I just want to make it smaller that way. There we go. Ugh. Now it's not symmetric. Hang on. Ugh. Okay, we're going to undo all that. Undo all of that. There we go. And I'm going to do this again. This time, I'm going to do that. Make that smaller. Whoop. Like that. And then move it. Control Z. And now I can take that away like that. Oops. Make that small. I want to move it though now. So if I get the box, put the box around it. Oops, no, not that one. Get that box. There we go. Put that around it. Now I can move it. Oop. I keep pressing all the buttons. Now I can move it. No, not that button. How did I move it before? Hand. There we go. No, that's the whole paper. Which button did I press? Oops. That one? No, that one. That one? Oh, no, that one. That one? Why is it so big? I just want to move it. Move the whole thing. No? The whole thing doesn't want to move. I don't want to shrink it, though. Nope. I'm going to undo it all. You know what? I'm just going to start and draw it again because that's all too hard. So I'm just going to make my doodah bigger. Ooh, that's not it. Hang on. Nope. Get that. Go back to the brush and then just delete it. I'm just going to rub all that out. And I'll just draw it smaller because, you know what? We'll stick to traditional. Why not? Hello. Hello, Hill. No, awesome. That'd be great, mate. Lovely to have you. Lovely to have you. So, yes, that was an interesting moment. I was just trying to shrink my picture and I didn't want to. So I'm like, you know what? Fine, I'll draw it again. That's fine. When in doubt, draw it again. So I'll just draw the basic shape. Doesn't matter that top line's thick. Because I want to fit pretty much his whole body in. So that's the length of his head. So his body is facing back from us. So his body is going back in perspective. So it will actually be the same length as his head plus a little bit. So I measure his head and I mark from the back to the front. And I take that measurement and I put that behind here. And then there's a little bit further back his body goes. So I just look at that, like the idea of a tiger. I do too. Tigers, they're one of the harder things to draw, I have to say, tigers and cats. But they're great practice on perspective and fur and all of those things. But today I'm drawing this tiger in black and white. So monotone. Because that way I can focus on the colours, on the shading, not the colours, on the shading. Now, I'm not happy with how I've got his eye. Now I've drawn his ear here and I've noticed his eye on a downward angle. The back corner of this left eye is in line with the ear. So I'll draw that in line with the ear. Like that. So that's the back eye, the back corner of his eye. I'll draw in his nose. And the upward lilt of his nose is in line with the bottom corner of the eye. So this is where you see I'll use different parts of him to measure the different parts. Roughly how long do you think it'll take? Probably an hour because I'm not using colour. So maybe an hour. Because it'll be quite a simple sort of a picture. So his chin comes down there and then he's got rough fur under there. So this is just the very rough beginning. Now he's got a ruffled fur coat that comes up here. So he's laying down this one, he's sitting down. It's probably going to take me a couple of goes to get. Now actually I've already done that too high. So you look at different things, looking forward to the end result. Thank you. Me too, it'll be fun because I've not done a monochrome drawing in digital before. I've only ever done colour drawings, so it'll be a lot of fun to see how it all goes. I'm just going to draw in his leg now. His leg comes, now his elbow is behind his mane, he's got a woolly neck bit. His chin, his front paw, I might start with his paw because his paw lines up with the bottom of his chin here, like that. Like that. Just got to be patient with the sketch because it's going to take a bit of toing and froing. Okay, I'm happy with that. His body goes back. You can see his back goes back into the distance, but it's up high. It's high as his scruff of his neck. His tummy comes down. It's in line just above his elbow, like that. The other paw comes down. I've got it a bit too far forward. I've got to bring that paw. I'll erase. Make my eraser bigger, like that. Get rid of a couple of these excess lines that I've used to mark. Okay. All right, go back to my pen. Now this leg comes down. I've got to change the angle. I think I've got to change the angle of his nose. I'm just going to erase this bit. Got to change the angle. It's got to be more of a downward. So high to low. Oops. Pen. Got a pen that's not right either, is it? No, I'll put it back. I'll erase that. I'll fix it at the end. I've got to work out the proportions a little bit more. His other paw comes down here and is hanging in front. He's laying on a rock. So I can just see the bottom of that paw. Like that. Do you still play games or do you just focus on art? No, I do both. I do both. I just haven't been inspired to play anything just yet. I've just uploaded a few different games, and I played something a couple of weeks ago. But I haven't played in a little while. Okay, so I'm quite happy with his body shape. I'm not happy with his head. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about his head, but that might just come with, as I add detail, it might get better. So we're just going to start with the eyes, and I can draw a bit of pattern. Just going to rough in the patterns. That will help me. I can see what I've done. I've got to have his nose has got to be longer. I've got his nose too stubby and more of an angle. Erase. Yeah, the games that I'm playing at the moment. What games have I got? I've got the new. I've gone complete because when I'm drawing, my mind goes completely blank. Elden Ring, but the new one. That's the multiplayer. I've uploaded that. Sea of Thieves. I've uploaded that. Because I've got a few friends who play that. What else have I uploaded? My goodness, I've gone completely blank on the name of the one. Hang on, I'm just going to pull up my Steam so I can have a look and I can tell you what it is. I can get my Steam up. Hang on. Whoops. Bring that up to there. Paleo Pines, Titanfall. Love Titanfall. Call of Duty, I've just updated. Borderlands 4. I've got Borderlands 4. What else? Dinkum. Love Dinkum. Haven't played it in a while. But yeah, I've got my games organised. I just haven't been... I just got to be motivated to play. I really have got to be motivated. And I'm just not at the second. Inspired to play, and I'm not. So... it's going to draw his pupil. I'm not sure what I'm not seeing about his nose. I'm just going to... I need to soften things a bit. I'm not seeing something. I've just got to... I'll figure it out. I can see I'm doing something wrong, but I'm not sure what it is just yet. But we'll get there. All right. So I'll come down. I've lengthened his nose a fraction. I'm going to start to draw in a few of the patterns. Might just be a perspective thing. And I'm working for a reference I found on Pixabay, which is a free photo reference site. Okay. I need to drop his eye. Is that what I've done? I need to drop his eye. His eye's in the wrong spot. So I'll just get rid of the eye. Grab my pen again. Drop it a fraction. Whoops. Like that. Okay. Again, that lines up with the corner of his eye. His nose comes out there. Tigers are very hard to draw. That's fur. I'm going to erase that because it's confusing me a little, that line there. Get rid of that. Get rid of all that. Start again there. So he's got... Oh. Control Z. Why aren't you... Okay, fine. I'll just erase that. Um, no, I've got his eye too low. His eye's way too low. Hang on. I'll get there. I will get there. There's a bit of withdrawing. There is a bit of toing and froing to try and figure things out. I think I've got to lift his ear up a fraction. Make his head a bit deeper that way. Like that. Erase that. It would be much easier to trace, but I like to challenge myself to draw. The only way to learn is to do. So the only way to get better at a drawing. Remember you're playing Red Dead 3? Yes. Oh my God, that's a beautiful game. That is such a beautiful game. Red Dead was my is my favourite. And I got so sad when it ended. Okay, I think that's a bit better. Now his eye. Maybe I'll bring it a bit higher up. Like that. Looks a little bit better already. I think I had his eye too low. Have you been playing anything? What have you been doing? Anything different or same? Yeah, I think I like the look of his head there better. He's got a very... he's got a stare happening. He's staring in front. I'll draw that little sparkle. Leave the white of the I'm going to call it paper. Leave the white of the paper as the white of his eye. Like that. Do the darker bits just with the heaviest black. Don't know if you know the series, but I just recently completed the Uncharted. Oh my God, I love Uncharted. I've played all the Uncharteds. I think they were one of the first games I played. Loved it. Loved the movie as well, just saying. But yes, love Uncharted, the series. Played them all, got them all. And Lara Croft, love all the Laras. And they were the first games I ever played. Like as an adult, I played a lot as a kid, but those games were like on Atari 2600 back then. So it's a whole different ball game. But yeah, love Uncharted. Got really attached to the characters, especially the final game in the series. It was very cool. And the last few games got dramatically better and easier to play. Love it? Yeah, they're great games. They are really good games. Now I can see here, if I do the shapes, I'll see where I have to adjust his depth of his face. So I can see here, I've got to take his face down lower, down there. He's got a lot of dark down here. It comes into the back of his jaw, so I'll fill all of that in. If I do that, and then I can drag and drop, get my bucket and just fill that with the black, like that. Then I can just scrub in the bits that I miss, like that. Go back to my brush. So yeah, I think the first game I played was Lara Croft. Second one was all the Uncharteds. Then I got into shooter looters, which were good fun. And I started with, what's it called? Oops, I'll have to have a look at my Steam again. When I started in the shooters, I started with, I saw it before. What did I start with? Oh, and all the Resident Evils. Oh my God, played all the Resident Evils. Outriders, Outlast. Couldn't get into Monster Hunter, just couldn't get into it. Elder Scroll, love. What else? What was the one I started with? Hang on, I'm just looking at my games. What did I start with? I started with, one of the ones was Destiny. It's gone. Where's it gone? Love Resident Evil 7. I love 2. I love 2. 2 was my favourite. 2 was definitely my favourite. 2 and then 4. And Village. Village was fun. What the heavens was the first game I played? I'm just looking. I cannot. Assassin's Creed was one. Played a few of them, not all of them. Elder Scrolls. Oh, Euro Truck Sim. Love Euro Truck Sim, but my steering wheel takes up too much space, so I can't play it. I've got Metro Exodus. I can't wait to play that. That sounds like fun. I cannot for the life of me. Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Yeah, played all the Tomb Raiders. My goodness. Maybe it wasn't a Steam game. What did I... Oh, it was a Tom Clancy game, but I can't remember which one it was now. Tom Clancy. It wasn't Rainbow. It was Tom Clancy's... Oh, what's it called? Oh, my goodness. I'm just having a look at my screen. I can't remember. It was a Tom Clancy game anyway. Okay, so I come up here, draw, fill in. I'm sort of, I think there's a name for this. I've gone completely blank on what it's called. What is it called? I'm sort of filling in the voids. It's a reverse filling in to help me with the detail and stuff. So I'm going to just fill in the dark spots first. And it gives, doing it in relief. I'm doing it in relief. That's what it's called. It's filling in the colour. Oh, it's filling in the black and white, filling in the darkest darks first, just to help me with my proportions. Okay, I've got to erase that part of his nose. I've got that bit wrong. There, that angle's wrong. Love The Last of Us. Oh my God, yeah, no, I couldn't play it. I watched my daughter play it through, start to finish, both of them. I couldn't do it. As strange as that sounds, it was too emotional. The game was too emotional for me. I couldn't do it. But I watched my daughter play through it. She played through both of them. So I sat and watched her like watching a movie, watched her play through them. All right, see, I've adjusted the shape of his mouth a bit. I'm going to draw his whisker dots in. I'm sort of doing this a little bit differently to how I sort of generally do drawing. Okay. And I've got to change his ear. I've made his ear way too big. So I'm going to erase the top of his ear. Be interested to see how this turns out actually, because it's not my normal style at all. So I'm going to change this ear altogether. Now his ear, there's a line that comes between his eyes. Whoops, what am I doing? Between his eyes there. And the other ear sort of starts about here, so I need to lift it a bit. That's a bit better. And it's rounded, not sharp. Okay. So now he's got his shoulder. I'm going to draw some of these stripes in, but I'm going to do them as loose sort of lines coming down and around. That comes above his leg, that line, that fur line. Then he's got his mane. It's not a mane, but he's got thick fur around his shoulder. Looks like a mane. So draw that in. Got one line that comes, and the lines will help with perspective as well. He's got a couple of lines that come down on his leg. He's got muscles here. Erase that little bit. Daisy. Now his body goes back into the distance. So he's got his lines sort of get thicker at the top. Got to be careful to keep the shape around his body. Like that. Just roughly. I'd love to see you do a saber-toothed tiger. Oh, it was a toss-up today. I was going to do a Tasmanian tiger. I did one ages ago, and they're one of my favourite animals. They're extinct, but they're beautiful. They're called the thylacine, and they're one of my favourite animals. And I really hope they find one. I really hope they're not extinct, but I mean, they are extinct, but I really hope they find just a freak little batch of them hidden somewhere that have managed to survive in the new Tasmanian forests. I would love that. But I was nearly going to draw one today, and that's where this tiger came from. I thought, no, I'll draw this tiger. I'm going to draw his tail. Comes around here like that. He's got it wrapped around him, sort of. Don't you find that crazy that the entire species can eventually cease to exist? Yeah, humans do. Humans do a lot of damage. Actually, I'm going to erase that tail. I don't like it. Humans do a lot of damage because it was humans that wiped out the thylacine. But they're a marsupial like a koala. They carry or like a kangaroo. They carry their babies in their pouch. They had a backwards facing pouch like a wombat, so that when they dug holes, they didn't get dirt in their pouch. They're fascinating creatures. Absolutely fascinating. I went to Tasmania and saw them, the mounted, what was, the museum examples. I've always wanted to do that. So we went to Tasmania a few years ago and went and saw the exhibit. And I've loved them, and I follow all the research that they do now because they're still looking for them to see if there's any in, because Tasmania is very there's still tons of explored, inaccessible land. It's very forested, very almost it's going to be impossible to get to all of it. Like they've found trees, the huion pine, that they'd thought was extinct for billions of years, and they've found it they're surviving. So if that can survive, the Tassie tiger can survive somewhere. We hope. I follow all the research channels. But yeah, I was going to draw the Tassie tiger, but I didn't. I might draw him another day. It is very scary. It is very scary and very sad. Now I'm going to draw this dark fur here. I'm sort of just blocking in the shapes of the stripes. So he's starting to look right. Just roughly drawing in. And this is going to be fun because I've never done monotone with digital, so trying to do the different shades of grey will be a real challenge, a fun challenge. Come down and around. That shape comes up here. Having a quick look. Another shape, another stripe comes up here. I might Google another tiger just for fun's sake. Tiger. Oops, nope. Tiger. Oh, toga. Okay, just so I could see, I want to see variations of stripes. Let's get another screenshot. There's nothing even remotely similar to the position I've got this one. Oh yeah, there is, okay. That's a reasonably good angle. All right, we'll go with that one. Save photo. What doesn't want to save? That's fine. Where are we? Did that save? No, of course it didn't. Save. Get there. I'll screenshot it. I'll use that as an idea for stripes. It's a similar perspective. That way. Okay, where are we? Images. Go back to my photos. There he is. So I can make that black and white, I think, but okay, he's got a little stripe there. He's got a couple little spots down on his feet. He's got the same kind of mane. And I was going to draw a moose. That was another one I was thinking of. It was a moose because I love moose. I do love moose. I'm just going to fill in some of these negative spaces. And this will all be in one layer. I'm not going to do multiple layers because it's really just a black and white sketch. It's the same as I would do with the pencil. So it'll take a few different layers. Come down and around here, using some stop-start sort of lines, broken lines. Again, following the direction of the fur. It's very scribbly, very squiggly at the moment. Got the shape of his leg coming up and around. There's a lot of shadow under his chin, so I'll block that in actually now. I'll just do that, and I'm going to come around his paw like that, around there, and I'm just going to get my paint pot, block that in like that. Then I'll just fill around those little edges, the little loose edges that have been left. That gives me that negative space filled in. Come down on his back. I'm actually going to just block these. I'm just going to do this. I can do the fur edges after. I'm just going to fill and block like that. Again, I'll go, I'm having a look at the drawing, the reference I mean, and I'll do a stripe. Oh, actually I'll do the other reference. I need to stick them together, so I'm going to screenshot that again and have them side by side so I can utilise both photos for references. Okay, get to the end of my photos, there they are. I'm going to use this one for the stripes. Again, go to my, so I'm using multiple references for one picture because I do like to keep it a little bit varied. Come up with my own part, like I use the shapes of the references, but I make up my own patterns and things. So I'm using multiple photos to get the stripes that I want. His stripes come down here and then sort of go back that way there, a bit like a zebra. And then I'll put my bucket, fill it in like that. He's starting to take shape already, which is really good. Around here like that. My bucket, fill it in like that. Like that. My bucket, fill it in. Oops, doesn't want to do it. Whoop! Don't want to do that. Gee whiz, that was scary because I've pressed one too many buttons. All right, go back. He's got his back leg sort of curled. Actually, I'll draw his tail going off into the background like that. His tail can go off like that. So I'll draw a couple of stripes going down on there. Then I'll get my bucket and fill that line in and fill that line in. Whoops. Like that. Eating as I watch? No, absolutely, Joel. That's fine. You got to eat. And I'm not liking how I've done these stripes on his back leg, so I'm going to change them. I'm going to change the stripes on his back leg. So I'm not liking the perspective of those, because if his back leg was tucked under, they would curl around this to the left, from left to right. So I'll draw that in. They'd curl that way. The ones on top where it's sort of bent would be like that. But the rest of them will come around from the back to the front. His legs tucked under and behind, like that. All right, so now I can fill those in. Whoop, not that one. Apparently, making all the sound effects, aren't I? So you've got to have unbroken lines, otherwise it sort of does that. So now fill that in, fill that in. Back to that one, fill that in. Make sure all my little lines are joined, otherwise it'll flood the whole area with black. There we go. Fill that one in, bucket. Again, fill this bottom one in. Can't see his other paw. It's tucked right in under there. He's got white on his belly coming down there. Okay, I'm going to fill in this bucket. Where's my bucket? There. See, I've got a few different lines in there, so it doesn't want to do it. Okay, there we go. So I'll come around here, draw that one, get my bucket, fill it in. Just get that. There we go. Okay, that's basically his darkest darks done. So I'm going to get my blending tool and I'm just going to blend some of these sort of rougher areas. Just blend it so that it sort of softens it like that. I'm doing this exactly how I would do a pencil or ink. It's exactly the same. Exactly the same technique as traditional. Just using digital. This is exactly what I would do if I was doing it with my dip pen or any pen, really. I'm just going to soften this fur around here. Soften right around there. Get rid of some of those hard lines. Soften all the way around. Go over the big stripes on his back again. I will do fur texture on the edges. It's good how real like techniques translates into doing it on what you're doing it on. Yes, I'm a big believer. Like people think digital art makes drawing easier, and it has. Like, okay, you can undo, so you don't have to start the drawing again. If you make a really major mistake, you can just undo it. So that does make it easier. But the actual technique to drawing, yes, you can superimpose a picture and trace over the top, but you can do that with traditional. I don't believe in it. I don't like it, but you don't learn anything from doing that. But you can do anything. You can do anything at all, and you just don't have the mess. I really appreciate the cost because the watercolor paper that I used was $50 a book, and you only got 11 pages. And the amount of drawing that I do didn't go far. So I was spending an awful lot of money on art supplies. So this, okay, it's an outlay on the tablet that I draw on, but it's a one-off. It's not a constant. I mean, this machine has paid for, this computer has paid for itself 10 times with the art supplies that I haven't had to use. So, which is really good. So, you know, for digital, and I can print it onto photo paper. So I have my own art hanging in my walls, on my walls. So you can print it out. I can save it to my phone's screensaver. It's much easier to send because I was spending a fortune when I sold stuff. I had to pack it and send it. Now I just email it. I still do traditional work, but I prefer to do digital. Okay, so now I'm going to get into the shading side of things, and I'm going to get onto my colour wheel. Where's my palette? Where'd my palette go? I've lost my palette. Where's my palette? Oh my God, where's my palette? What happened? Where's my palette? I can't can't see my palette. Oh, it's up the side. Okay. So I'm going to go here. And I'm going to go down into the middle sort of light colours. I want to go to I'll go to the white there. I'm going to work up the scale there. It's more of a black and white setup. So I'm going to go to sort of the middle tone. No, that's not going to work, is it? Do I have to use a grey? I don't. Hang on. There's got to be a black and white palette. Hang on. Let's have a look. Okay. Advanced colour selector. Docker. Use different colour space image. Use custom colour for select background. No. I want to be able to see shade selector. I want to use a different one. Colour patches. I want to use that. Okay, I think. And I want to go colour selector. What's the other one? Lightness goes from black to white with the middle grey being equal to the most. So yeah, okay, we'll try that. Oh, there we go. Look at that. That gives me sort of what I want. I think. We'll try. It's got the greys. It's got pinks and stuff, which is really weird. I'll use these greys. See these 4 greys on the left in the middle? I'll use them. So, I've got to get my pen back. So I'm going to go back to, I'll go to a soft brush. And I'm going to start, no I won't, I'll use me like a smooth brush. Don't like that at all. Hang on, undo. Or I'll just stick with my dip pen. I'll just stick with my dip pen because you know what? That's what I would use traditionally. So we'll just do that. We'll just do it completely 100% traditional technique. For fun's sake. I'll just soften the edges, which I would do with a cotton bud. And it's funny, the tool in this app is actually a cotton bud. I love that. So they're very familiar to someone like me who's not a digital person generally. It really is funny that I've got tools that are familiar. Whoever designed it didn't use fancy dancy made up things. They've used very similar tools to replicate the digital brushes, which I love. So, because in real life, I use digital pen. I use a dip pen. And I use ink. And I use a cotton bud to blend. All right, down and around. Looking where the shadows are. Shadowed up on his ear. You leave the white of the paper for the lightest lights. Like that. Oops. Blend that out. It's actually a bit lighter in there, so I'm going to blend that. I've got to draw some more of the black line around his face. I've missed a couple of stripes, I think, just to help with the perspective of his face. Get my paint bucket, fill that in. Oh, I filled his whole face in. Don't want to do that. Just do that. Fill those in. Get my bucket, fill that in. Whoop, no. I'll just do it by hand, shall I? I'll just fill that in like that. My dip pen. Come around his ear. Like that. Filling around his nostril a little bit. Got to darken up above his eye, giving a stronger eyelid. At the end, I'll fine tune the detail. Go back to this middle tone. Make my brush a bit bigger, my pen a bit bigger, so I can fill it in a bit more. Ooh. Ew. Oh, actually, no, that's because I blend it so it softens it anyway. Let's do that. Just to block in. Like that. Oops. Maybe it was that colour, second colour. Get back to my dip pen. I'm going to fill in these spots, or these patches that are a little bit darker. And I'll blend them, which is if I was using watercolour, I would drop water in, I'd drop the paint in and it would flow around like this. It would do very similar things. So if I go there, just trying to find a way of making my picture black and white by reference. Contrast? Nope. Filters? We'll go to filters maybe. Oh yeah, there we go. That one made it black and white for me, so I can see where he's darker. It's easier to see that way. Just blend all this in. I will add fur detail. I'm just blocking in at the moment. I'll add fur detail over the top. I'm just blocking in these darker areas and just filling them with the grey. Oops, come down under his leg. Blend it. Just keep swapping between my pens. Getting my dark pen again, my dip pen and my smudging brush. Like that. There's a few different tones going on here with the grey. All right, this leg is a lot of shadow, different shades of it, but I'm working from mids to lights now. Blend that. When I say mids, middle tone to the lightest colour, I work my way up. Having a look. It'll be shadow underneath, so I'll fill all of this in. Like that. Around the edge of his body. Like that. I'll block this in. I'll do that colour drop thing. His leg comes up there like that. Then I'll get my bucket. Hope I filled in all the lines. Yep. Nice. Go back to my brush and I can fill in the excess. Like that. Just to give him a base to sit on. So he needs something to sit on. Tidy up some of these edges. Get rid of that little line around the outside. tidy that up. I'll give it back its sharp edges in a minute if I want to. Okay. It sort of looks like a Chinese drawing at the moment, an Chinese ink drawing. Why aren't you erasing properly? Oh, because I've got the wrong brush, that's why. Oh, no, don't do that. That's what I want to do. There we go. Okay. So, happy with that. Now I'm going to go back to his lips, block in his mouth, go back to the dark. Let it darken up his mouth a bit. Darken up where his whiskers are there. His whiskers sort of join in. He's got darker fur here. Now I'll go to a middle tone. So it's a lighter grey. I'm going to start to draw fur in. I'm going to grab one of my little furry looking brushes. No, use that one. Actually, I have got fur brushes. Let's have a look. Fur. So if I go to fur, hair and fur, it just gives me a simpler brush. It will do the job. Let's have a look. I think that's probably the one. Where was it? Maybe that one. Gives me, oh, not that big though. Just need it to be a bit of a thicker brush. A little bit thicker. It gives me the texture of fur. I'd use a barreled watercolour brush to do this in reality. Now, and drawing over the top of all of this, starting with the middle tone. And remembering to follow the direction of the fur. Coming back down and around, and short strokes for the fur. Lots of short strokes because they've got quite short, dense fur. His fur goes down in a downward direction on his face. Continue on down. It goes up towards his nose a little bit. Come down here. I can add another stripe in. Actually, I'm going to go dark, back to the darkest dark. See if I can just drop these in a bit. A few more lines in here and there, I think. Like that. I'll darken that up in a minute. These little areas that I've sort of missed. Okay. I should have done that in the darkest dark, shouldn't I? I'll try that again, shall I? I'll go back to a dip pen, go back to favourites. Back to my dip pen. There we go. I'll just draw those back in. Got to add a couple of bit of extra lines. Fill those in. All right. He's got. Hello, Trip. Thanks for the sub, mate. Thanks for the sub. How you going, doll? Just scribbling a tiger. What's been happening? And thank you for the sub. I'm going to go back into the middle tones and draw this fur in. Oh, no volume. Oh, that's odd. Oh. Oh. Okay. Did that work? No. Yeah. Come down and around. Draw more fur. Pork and chicken bouse. Oh, yum. Okay, continue around drawing the fur. I'm gonna get one of my softer brushes. I might go with that one. It's more of a bristly, soft brush. Bring that down and around. That's better. That's better. And I'll work in a few different layers. It's got quite a thick face. Going the direction of the fur. Always got to remember to go the direction of the fur. And I will leave. You can see that I'm adding the texture over the top now. I can add some light bits back in as I need to. This fur here is longer. Gets thinner towards the shoulder, coming down, shorter towards the shoulder, coming down. Like that. I'll add some more muscle in a little while. It's working one value at a time. The fur goes in a backwards direction here. Tiger looks hungry. He needs some of your chicken bow, mate. I've got to type that in. So anyone who's on Twitch or even on YouTube, any of my YouTube buddies, you've got to check out Trip 228 on Twitch. So I'm just going to give him a shout out if I can do that on here. If it'll let me, hang on. Shout out Trip 228. I'm hoping that'll work. Yay, it worked. I haven't done it on that app before. I'm using my I usually do it on the actual Twitch app. And I did that through what's it called? That thing through Streamlabs. I usually do it through Twitch itself. So yes, anyone, pop a follow to my mate Trip. Awesome, very entertaining gaming streamer and art streamer and cooking occasionally. All right, come down and around. Let's have a look. It's quite a lot darker around the back actually. So I'll darken up here. Like that. I ate them all. Oh no, greedy. All right. Come down. Just looking again the direction of the fur. It's got lighter fur underneath. I'm going to go a little bit darker. A little bit darker maybe. Just at the back. Still got that rough brush. A little bit darker in a couple of spots. That's not darker. What's going on? What have I done? That's darker. Next time for sure. I'm just putting my thumb up because it's got silent on. It is actually quite hard to draw tradition like black and white. It is quite hard. I'm surprised. I shouldn't be surprised, but I am surprised. I'm going to go a bit darker down here. A bit darker up here. A bit darker into his nose. It's actually easier to do with a pen because you've got it in front of you. You've got all the shade, all the tones laying in front of you, which I sort of have on here, but I want to change my colour wheel somehow. I've got to look up how to change my colour wheel so it's a bit more Jenny friendly. I might go back to the strongest blacks. Sort of figuring it out as I go. Go back to my dip pen and individual marks. I think I find that easier. I do think I find that easier. Actually, I'll get that fur brush because it's a better mark. It's a softer mark, but it's solid black as well. So where did my essential hair and fur? And it was, I've got to remember how to save it as a favourite. That one. How do I save it? I want to save it. I'm going to have to Google. Hang on, I'm Googling. How do I save? Do I save? Brush. To faves in Krita. I did it before, but I just can't remember how. Oh, it doesn't want to do it. How do I save a brush to faves? Favourites in Krita. Okay. Save brush to favourites. Right click. Oh, the brush. Right click the brush. Oh, look at that. And presets and select assign to tag. Oh, okay, look at that. Favourites. Done. I got him there now. That was easy. Okay, I forgot how to do that. So now I don't need to go there. I can just go to favourites and it'll be there. Yay. There it is. Woohoo. That makes life easier. Totally forgot how to do that. Because that brush is a nice sort of barreled round brush that I would use in watercolour. And what I can do is I'll just use the darkest dark and go to drop the opacity. That's all. Do it that way. See how that goes. Is that going to work? Maybe not. Then it is truly one tone. No. Stick with me dip brush, me dip pen. That'll give me my best darkest darks and change the shape of his eye a bit. Because I'm not happy with the shape of his pupil and his iris. There we go, that's a bit better. Drop the opacity so it's not so strong. There we go. Again, drawing the fur into his ear. Draw this fur coming down the back of his neck. And I can add some lights back in at the top, at the end as well. Okay, I said this would take an hour. It's going to take longer than an hour because I'm very much fiddling and fussing. I will do this in a shorter format video as well. I'll edit it and cut it into a shorter video for anyone who wants to watch it later and not watch the whole thing. Now the fur on his leg is much shorter in a downward motion. Pick up the opacity because I've got to get these dots around his nose a bit better. Soften up around his furry feet. Like that. Block in here. Come around, there's in shadow as well. So I'm just adding shadow in as I see it. Come down here like that. I'm starting to build these shapes a bit more now. Make my brush a little bit bigger. My pen a bit bigger, it is anyway. I've got to come and draw in the fur around his belly. Just soften that up a bit. I can see a little bit of that foot, just a little, just there. So his leg's sort of tucked in like that. I'm just going to go to my blending tool and blend that back in a little bit just to soften it. Then I'll draw fur detail back on. I'll go back to this sort of middle grey. Drop the opacity a fraction so it's a little bit lighter. And draw in the fur detail. Draw the texture in. Hearing bumps and bumps out there. I draw some of this fur around the outside just to soften these outside edges. And they're just little squiggles, just little squiggles. That bit of fur there goes a different direction because it's sort of curled back. Like that. Got to draw the darkest dark texture on his fur. I'm going to go back into the brush, fur brush. I can add the light back in. His fur goes back towards the back of his body, like that. I'm going to go to my rough brush. I like my rough brush. Have it going back towards the back of his body. Like that. It's very sketch, like it's a sketchy drawing. It's very traditional in its technique and style. But it gives you the effect that you want. Oh, I've got to change the shape of that. Hang on. Undo that bit. Got to change the direction of the fur on the top of his leg. It goes a different direction. It changes again there. That can make the most difference, is the direction of fur. Then he's got shadow under here. and down here. All right. So now I'm going to go true black. I'm going to add just some roughness to the edges of these fur on his stripes. It just softens up those edges, gives them a bit fur texture. Around all of them. His tail. Now add that fur texture onto the stripes on his leg. Got to strengthen this stripe around here. Like that. There we go. Hello, Bacon. How are you, doll? How's it going, mate? You been keeping out of mischief, and I hope not. All right, come down and around. Direction of the fur. I'm going to fill this in here. Mr. Whiskers, it is Mr. Whiskers. Certainly is. What am I doing? I'm going to grab some white. Go to my lights. Go to the lightest light. Add a bit of fur, a bit of lighter fur texture back in here and there. Might even go to my dip pen. I can get a more precise line. It does have some light in patches. Bring some of that into these dark stripes to create a fur mingling together effect. One wants mingling fur, as you do. Just gives it a bit of interest. Around, adding this light in, so that gives it a bit of texture. I go to my brush again. See, that's better. It's a bit softer. Still the bright white, but it's a bit softer. It's going to blend out these stripes on his face. They're a bit harsh looking, these ones. Add some fur texture into them. They're a little bit harsh looking. There we go. Now I'll go back to my fur brush. And that light colour. Bring that into the edges. Now I'm just trying to think of what I'm going to do down on his tummy. I'm not going to do a whole lot more. Like, it's quite a simple drawing. I'm going to go super dark, create some different darks directly underneath him. Keep it simple. Gives the desired effect anyhow. Like that. Come under his foot. Like that. I can blend that, the edges of that. Like that. Blend that out. That just gives it a little bit more three-dimensional dark underneath. I'm going to go super dark actually, just here. Like that. And then blend that. Get my blending tool, just blend the edges of the darkest dark, like that. There we go, that makes him look like he's sort of sitting. He's more grounded. You've got to sort of ground your picture. I'm going to do a little bit, a tiniest little tint of yellow. It's not really yellow, but it's slightly different tone into his eyeball, like that. Blend it. Like that, and then draw that pupil back in. Go back to my black. Like that. Okay, having a look. Well, he's looking like a tiger. That's always a good thing. It's always a positive when it looks like what you want it to. But I've shown you how it sort of takes up quite a process to get. Oh, I've forgotten a bit of shape here. Up here, a bit rough fur at the top. Yeah, the process of drawing can be a to and fro when you're trying to draw from freehand. And I struggled with his head, and usually I do everything, I work from the head to get all proportions. And I did struggle to get his proportions today. I haven't drawn a tiger in quite a while. And they're quite a complicated animal to draw. So it did take me a few attempts to get him where I wanted him to look. I'm going to draw the fur on his head. Got to elongate that ear a fraction. Get a bit more fur fuzz around the back of that one. He's got quite rough fur on his head, so I'm just going to ruffle up these outer edges. Just a little. Strengthen up a couple of these other stripes on the opposite side of his face. Like that. Vary up a few of these lines. I can see his whiskers. I've got to draw his whiskers in. I've got to ruffle up fur on his chin. Got to soften this outside line on his leg as well. Draw some fur on this inside of this leg to help to give it some depth. His front leg. Then on this one that he's sort of laying on towards us, I'll draw some fur texture on there, just using my dip pen. I mean, you could go on, I could just do details on this all day, but I want to keep it basic to show you with little not little effort, with not too much fuss. And these are very random pen strokes. Like, it's not a lot of hours and hours of fussing with detail. It just gives you the effect, gives you the illusion of what you want. You know, it looks right. He looks like a tiger. The trick is, you don't worry about, can get bogged down in detail, but the trick is to trick the eye to thinking it's seeing what you want, and then stop there. Some of the best paintings you ever see, if you look at them really closely, look like a muddled mess. When you look at them up close, they look like blobs and dashes. They're my favourite paintings, I have to say. The ones that when you look at them, you go, how the heavens did they make that look like that with all those blobs and dashes? It is all an illusion. Drawing is illusion. And that was my biggest thing I learnt, to try and not get bogged down in too much detail, was to not focus on the detail, to focus on the shapes and the illusion. What could I do to make it look like those? I reckon I'm going to call that there. I reckon I'm going to say done. So I'm going to sign that down here, and I am going to call that done. So thank you for watching. That was my first black and white sketch in Krita on my iPad, on my tablet, huion tablet. So yeah, that was fun. So thank you for watching. I will see you all